I am giving away everything you need to know to get a high score in IELTS. And you won't be able to find the information that I'm gonna tell you in this video anywhere else, because the real ways to increase your IELTS score is usually kept behind paid courses. But my mission is to share all the information that I know that can help you to maximize your score completely for free. And I truly believe that everyone should have access to equal education. That's why I spend hundreds of hours and years of experience to share that information in this video. However, don't think that your score is gonna magically improve after watching this video. Remember, that's the most significant step that a lot of people just ignore is taking action. My suggestion is to apply the strategies and tips that you will learn during this free course and apply them into your own preparation journey. If you want, you can skip timestamps below. So now, sit back, relax, and let's get started. I got 8.5 in IELTS listening, and in this video I'm gonna share you the exact step-by-step guide that top 1% of IELTS test takers use in their preparation journey. And I'm also gonna tell you mistakes that many test takers are making time and time again. I will also be telling you what skills you actually need to get 8.5 or above. By the way, I'm also gonna give you my genuine advice that helped me to get 8.5 in IELTS listening. My name is Azamat, and this channel is all about IELTS and English language learning. If you like the sound of that, please subscribe. So let's get into it. Firstly, let's talk about step-by-step guide on how I got 8.5 in IELTS listening. So, the first step that really helped me to get 8.5 in IELTS listening section is doing what I really enjoy. For example, I used to watch a lot of films, and that helped me to boost my listening skills. Listening to something that you really enjoy helps you to improve your listening skills, which are so important in the listening sections of the IELTS test. Instead of doing something that you don't enjoy, you should definitely watch films or do whatever you enjoy which is related to listening. And this step is so important in every single person's preparation journey, because it's the fundamental thing that every single person has to do. Let's say you really enjoy watching YouTube videos, and it's a great way for you to boost your listening skills. And the next step is taking an IELTS listening practice test. It's so important that you resemble every single part of your mock exams as the real IELTS listening exam. And after taking that practice test, step number 3 comes in, which is being honest and reviewing every single mistake that you did. You might be thinking, oh, I should analyze the mistakes that I made in my mock exam. But no, you should definitely analyze all the questions in the test. Definitely use audio scripts, which is usually at the end of the Cambridge IELTS books, and this helps you to analyze where you made a mistake. And for example, let's say you are being distracted by the test, and what you can do is to analyze those distractions, prevent yourself from making those same mistakes over and over again. And let's say you're having problems with summary completion questions in IELTS listening, or you're having problems with multiple choice, and you can turn those weaknesses into strengths. Now, let's talk about the mistakes that a lot of IELTS test takers are making in their listening test. And those mistakes are actually preventing you from getting 8 or above in your listening score. And the first one is ignoring different types of accents. This is so important. And I can't agree more on this because in my test, I had speakers who spoke in American and British accents, and listening to both of these accents helped me to understand the conversation better. In the IELTS listening test, you might have a Canadian or Australian or even American or British accent in your IELTS listening exam. So the second mistake that a lot of people are making is having some spelling issues. To prevent that, you can use any vocabulary book or anything like that to learn some spelling common errors so that you will be aware of them. And the third mistake that many people are making these days in IELTS listening is not reading the instructions carefully. For example, in part 1, you may need to write no more than one word and or number. But if you have written 2 words, it is gonna be counted as a mistake because you shouldn't write 2 words in the place where you need to write no more than 1 word. So definitely make sure that you read the instructions very careful. It's so important that it can change a lot. Now you've understood the step-by-step guide that I implemented in my preparation journey to get 8.5 in IELTS listening, and you also have learned a lot about the mistakes that are ruining your score. Now let's talk about the skills that are actually tested in IELTS listening test. The first one is vocabulary. Without vocabulary, you can't get a high score because if you don't know a word, it's impossible for you to get a correct answer. So that's why I recommend you to learn vocab efficiently and try to turn them into active vocabulary. And in the future, I will also make a video about that, how you can learn vocabulary. The second skill that is tested in IELTS listening test is your listening skills, which are so important because if you can't understand, if you can't comprehend the monologue or a conversation, it's impossible for you to get a correct answer. So that's why you really need to boost your listening skills. You might be thinking, how? As I told you before, do what you really enjoy to improve your listening skills. Your IELTS preparation journey has to be fun. It has to be interesting. It doesn't have to be boring because you need to enjoy what you're doing so that you will have a very good productivity. It doesn't matter whether you listen to podcasts or watch films or watch YouTube videos, but make sure that you are doing active listening where you're actively listening to that video or film or a podcast, not something that is passive. The third skill, in my opinion, that is required to get a high score is predicting the answer. For example, in fill in the gaps questions, for example, you might think, well, what is the answer? Is it a noun, or is it a verb, or is it an adjective, or what is this word related to, so that you can predict the answer. It really helps you to get a high score. And in my case, it really helped me to get 8.5 in IELTS listening. The next skill that is so important in IELTS listening is attention. If you can't focus, you will not be able to get a high score. And you might be thinking, how can I improve my focus? And the simple answer to this is listen to something for a long time actively, not passively. For example, most of the time podcasts are between 1 and 2 hours, but if you don't enjoy doing it, you will passively listen to it and it's not gonna help you to improve your focus. But if you're gonna do something that you enjoy for a long time, for over 30 minutes, then you can improve your focus by actively listening to that thing. And now let's talk about my genuine advice that's helped me to get 8.5 in IELTS listening. The first thing is listening to something in 2x speed because it helps you to understand some fast conversations. For example, when I was watching YouTube videos, which I really enjoyed doing, I listened to them at double the speed of that video because it helped me to understand it at a faster rate. And in the IELTS test, in the listening section, I was not really overwhelmed by the speed of it. It was real. I felt that the IELTS listening test was so slow because I got used to listening to those videos at 2x speed. And the second advice that I'm gonna give you for those who are starting their IELTS preparation journey and wanna get a high score in listening is exposing themselves to different accents. For example, don't just listen to a person who speaks in an American accent, but also watch some videos of people who speak in a British or Canadian or even Australian accents, because it helps you to understand all of those accents. And in your IELTS listening test, if you will be exposed to those different accents, you will not have any issues at that time. The third advice that I would give for those who are starting out their IELTS preparation journey is thinking that practice doesn't make perfect. You can do thousands of practice exams, but your score might not even increase. It might also decrease as well because you will develop some bad habits that you will repeat over time. So in my opinion, practice doesn't make perfect. Instead, analyze the mistake that you're doing and identify your weaknesses and turn them into your strengths so that you can get a high score in IELTS listening. I wish I knew this. The last thing that many people ignore is staying positive. In your exam, even if you miss one answer, don't worry, stay positive, because even with one mistake, you can get a band 9 in IELTS listening test. If you want some reading tips, then watch the video that you can see somewhere on the screen. There are lots of IELTS test takers who are making these 3 huge mistakes in their IELTS speaking exam again and again. And in this video, I'm going to show you those 3 mistakes that are leading them to get a lower score. The first huge mistake that IELTS test takers are making is using those big words does not guarantee you a high score, because those big words can be inappropriate in some context, and when IELTS test takers use them, it might not fit into the context of that sentence. But instead, what they need to really focus on is using some topic-specific vocabulary, collocations, and phrases that real English native speakers use. Using those big words can lead to confusion and more complicated sentences, which makes the job of the examiner harder, and it makes anyone who listens to that conversation harder to understand. Mistake number 2 is thinking that you need to have an American or British accent to score a high score in IELTS speaking exam. But this is simply not true, because accent is not an evaluation criteria. But instead, I suggest you to focus on other pronunciation features like word stress or intonation or sentence structure. Last but not least, many IELTS test takers think that they need to speak the whole truth. But in IELTS speaking, this is not a case. It doesn't matter whether you're gonna be honest or not. IELTS is not a lie detecting test. It's a test that evaluates your English skills. So it's okay to lie in some parts if you have no idea about that. In today's video, we will be talking about how to effectively take notes in IELTS speaking part 2. You will only have 1 minute, and this is the most important time for you to take effective notes. The main reason I believe that you clicked on this video is because you always run out of ideas while you're speaking in IELTS speaking part 2, and I've got a great solution. And one of those myths that you always hear is thinking about quantity of words you write when you're preparing in your 1 minute time preparation. And what I'm gonna tell you is the opposite. The other mistake I see many IELTS test takers make is writing word for word while they're preparing for answering IELTS Speaking Part 2. Remember that you only have 1 minute, and that 1 minute is key for effective speaking in Part 2. Many IELTS test takers also write some unhelpful words. You might think, what are they? And in my opinion, those words are nice, interesting, or fun. These words are not gonna help you. And the other mistake that I see a lot of students making is speaking at a very slow rate so that they will speak for 2 minutes. Like, it might decrease your score. You don't have to speak too fast as well. You need to speak at a normal rate. Instead of writing those unhelpful words, I suggest you to write some prompts. And those prompts, you can look at those prompts when you're speaking because it does not even affect your score in IELTS speaking. And the other thing that you could also do is to add some topic-specific vocabulary, not just words like interesting, fun, or nice, but something that you can only use in a specific topic. A common error that many IELTS test takers are doing, thinking that they have to cover everything what is written in a cue card, but you don't have to cover everything. You can talk about some of those few prompts, but you don't have to follow everything, because in band descriptors there is nothing that says that covers all parts of the cue card. If you're struggling with IELTS listening section, I've got tips and strategies that really can help you to improve your score. And if you want to watch this video, you can see it somewhere on the screen. Are you struggling with writing a body paragraph in IELTS Writing Task 2? I've got great strategies for you to maximize your score. In this video, I'm also going to be telling you what you really should include in your body paragraph in answering some questions. First of all, many students ask me about how many main ideas they should use in their body paragraph. And my answer is you can write one main idea in one body paragraph, but you really should fully develop that idea. But there are also essays that can get you a high score with two main ideas, but most of the time those ideas are fully developed. But you have very few time in IELTS writing, only 40 minutes. Don't waste your time writing too many ideas. Instead, focus on one and fully develop it. The first thing that you need to write in your IELTS Writing Task 2 body paragraph is your topic sentence, where you include your main idea. Then, what you need to do is writing 1 or 2 sentences that can explain your main idea. What you really need to think about is, why is that statement true? Or what are the causes and effects? What happens if we can implement this? Or is it a good thing or a bad thing? And why? After explaining your main idea, what you need to do is writing an example. Don't forget to use a Discord marker. For example, for instance, and those kinds of linking words, because they are so important for coherence and cohesion. And your examples have to be relevant, as they do need to perfectly illustrate the points. The mistake that a lot of students make is having an example that is not even relevant to the topic. And then what you need to do in some cases is write how that example relates to your main idea. Sometimes it might not be clear how your example might be related to the main idea that you wrote. If you can include all of these things perfectly, you will definitely get a high score in IELTS Writing Task 2. If I had 30 days for IELTS preparation, I would do the following things that I'm gonna tell you in this video This video is split into 4 sections representing 4 weeks of my IELTS preparation journey if I had to start over again. Let's begin. In week number 1, what I would do is, firstly, I will understand every single question type of the listening and reading sections of the IELTS test. It really helps me to understand the format of the test. You might have a question, how? What I would do is watch videos for every single question type and practice through official Cambridge materials. During this time, I would also do what I really enjoy to do that is related to listening and reading. For example, if I really love watching films, I would definitely watch films because it's a great way for me to practice active listening. But I will not do something that I don't even enjoy, like listening to podcasts, because they are not gonna help me to improve my score. And the main reason is because you're not doing active listening. You're just passively listening to those podcasts, and those things are not gonna be helpful for you to maximize your score. I would also familiarize myself with the format of the IELTS speaking test. After learning about every single question type in listening and reading sections of the IELTS test, what I would do in week number 2 is to take a practice test of listening and reading. After taking a practice test, I will be honest and I will check all of the answers, and then what I would do is to analyze each question, why I did that mistake or why I did this correctly. And I'm gonna question myself, what can I do to improve my response? What are the specific question types that I'm getting most of my incorrect answers from? And I would work on my weaknesses and try to turn them into my strengths. The next thing that I would do in week number 2 of my IELTS preparation journey, if I had to start over again, is understanding every single question type in IELTS writing, both task 1 and task 2. After familiarizing myself with all parts of the IELTS test, I would do a full mock test, and I will try to resemble every single part of it as the official IELTS test. It all includes having timers and everything that can resemble the official IELTS test. In speaking section, what I would do is to record myself, and after doing a test, I would listen to myself and analyze my response, in which sections of the speaking test I'm having mistakes on. What are my common grammatical mistakes, and what can I do to improve those? I would also analyze the listening and reading and writing sections of that full mock test as well. As I said before, I would analyze each question, even the questions that I got correct. And in questions that I got incorrectly, I would question myself, why did I do that mistake? What can I do to prevent myself making this mistake? I would also learn the vocabulary that I didn't know in both listening and reading sections of the full IELTS mock test. Finally, week number 4. In week number 4, I'm not gonna learn anything new. I'm just gonna review everything what I learned during these 3 weeks. In addition to that, I will also relax for the test day. If you're struggling with IELTS Academic Writing Task 1, then this video is for you. In this video, we will be talking about what is IELTS Academic Writing Task 1, why do many people struggle with this task even though it is easy, and we will also be talking about the marking criteria. And I'm gonna teach you how to write an introduction, overview, and body paragraphs, and after knowing how to write them, we will be talking about every single question type in IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. And I've also got some bonus tips for you to succeed, and these tips are so time-saving, and these tips are so helpful for you. You might have a question. What is IELTS Academic Writing Task 1? It is simply a report on a chart. And your task is to describe what you see. Lots of people who find IELTS Writing Task 1 so difficult, and there's two main reasons for this. The first one is because they don't have accuracy when they're interpreting the data. For example, if it is between 17 and 20, they just write 18 or 19, but what they really need to do is having a great accuracy. For example, they can use words like around, or approximately, or about. These words are gonna be so helpful for the accuracy of your response. And the second reason why many people find it difficult is because they don't really understand what the IELTS writing examiner is looking for. And in this video, I'm gonna show you what IELTS examiners are looking for and what not to do. So now, let's talk about the marking criteria. If you look at the marking criteria of IELTS Writing Task 1, it might look so hard to understand, but let's simplify all of this in this video. So the first criteria is task achievement. So the main things in task achievement is whether you cover all requirements of the task. They include like summarizing the information by selecting key features and reporting them. And you also have to write a clear overview. And the other thing that IELTS examiners look for is making comparisons where relevant. The mistake a lot of students make is making irrelevant comparisons, and this might lead to a lower score. So the next one is coherence and cohesion. You might be thinking, what is it? And the main features of this criteria is that whether your ideas are organized logically. So it's so important for you to have a great organization of your ideas and information that you report in your essay. The next thing is logical paragraphs. So the mistake a lot of students make is having under or overuse of cohesive devices, and make sure that you use cohesive devices appropriately. The next one is lexical resource. It just means vocabulary. What you really need to focus on in this criteria is having no spelling errors. This is gonna be so helpful to have no spelling errors. And the other thing is the appropriateness of word choice. If you're not 100% sure about the meaning of the word, I don't really recommend you to use that in your essay, because this might lead to the inappropriateness of word choice. Last but not least, grammatical range and accuracy. It just means grammar. So you need to focus on mainly two things in this criteria. The first one is accuracy, and the second one is range. The majority of the sentences don't have to have errors in them, grammatical errors. And you also have to make sure that you have a range of grammatical structures as well. So you have understood what the IELTS examiner is looking for, and you've also understood what IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 is. So now let's move on to how to write a perfect IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 report. The first paragraph that you have is an introduction. In the introduction, your task is to paraphrase. So, we have a question. The graph below gives information about the price of bananas in 4 countries between 1994 and 2004. So, we can paraphrase the statement. So, we are going to change the graph into the line graph. Gives information about is going to be paraphrased as shows. The price of bananas can be similar to the cost of bananas. In 4 countries is going to be turned to in Japan, France, Germany, and the United States of America. Between 1994 and 2004 is going to be changed to from 1994 to 2004. As you can see, we have paraphrased it. And don't think that the only way to paraphrase is by using synonyms. There are lots of other ways of paraphrasing. For example, you can grammatically paraphrase the sentence as well. For example, let's say there is the graph below gives information about the price of bananas. We can paraphrase it as the line graph shows how much bananas cost. Here we have a grammatical paraphrase. We can specify the countries as well, as we've done in this case. We listed all 4 countries. Instead of saying 4 countries, we told Japan, France, Germany, and the United States. The next paragraph to write in your IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 is your overview. Some people recommend you to write it at the end of your report, but I don't really suggest it because if you might run out of time, you will even have your overview if you write it as your second paragraph. And so you might be thinking, how are we gonna write the overview? What you need to do is to just identify 2 or 3 main things in the visual that you see in your task. They can be some very high points or very low points, and you can make comparisons as well. You might also talk about overall increases or overall decreases, and in some cases you can also talk about overall fluctuations of that chart. But don't forget that you don't need to write the exact data. You don't have to specify the numbers in that paragraph. After writing your introduction and overview, what you need to really focus on is your body paragraphs. I suggest you to have 2 body paragraphs in your report, and those paragraphs have to be logically organized. For example, there are lots of ways of logically organizing your body paragraphs. The first one is by countries. For example, if you have 6 countries on your chart, describe 3 of them in your first body paragraph and describe 3 other countries in your second paragraph. You can also logically organize your reports by similar trends. There's also another way of logically organizing your body paragraph, and that is by dividing the time frame into 2 parts and describing the first part of that time frame in the first body paragraph and describing the second time frame in the second body paragraph. By the way, you need to select and report key features, not every single detail of that chart. You've now learned how to write a perfect IELTS Writing Task 1 academic report. So now let's talk about the question types that you might encounter in your real IELTS exam. There are 7 question types in IELTS Writing Task 1, and the first one on our list is line graphs. You're gonna see trends over time in line graphs, as you can see here in the image. And you need to have really great vocabulary on upward, downward, and fluctuation languages, and I'm gonna make a video about that in the future. And if you have learned at least one important thing from this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment. And by the way, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any other videos. The second question type that you might encounter in IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 is bar charts. You will have data according to different categories. The next one is pie charts, where you have data as percentages. Then we have tables, where you have data in rows and columns. The next question type in IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 is diagrams or processes. There you will have a sequence of events happening. The next one is maps. You will have maps of two different countries, or you might also have a map of the specific locations in the past and in the present, or the location of the specific location now and the predicted time. Last but not least, you will have mix of different charts. For example, you might have a bar chart with a table, or you might have a table with line graph. And let's move on to tips for IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. These tips are so important that you can save a lot of time through knowing these. The first one is you don't have to have your personal opinion in your reports, because you describe what you see in the visual. You don't have to include any personal opinion. So that means you don't need to write I, we, or our, or your, because they are personal pronouns. The second one is not having conclusion, because your examiners are not looking for any conclusions. Instead of writing a conclusion, write an overview and put it as the second paragraph in your reports. The third tip that many people overlook is avoiding too much details. Many people write a lot of details, but the IELTS writing examiners don't want you to do this. They want you to summarize the information. How? By selecting and reporting key features only. So your job is just to talk about key features, not every single point in every single year in the visual that you have. Last but not least, use the correct tense, because this might have a huge impact on your grammatical range and accuracy. If you use the incorrect tense, then your accuracy is gonna be so low. I'm gonna reveal top tips for IELTS Writing Task 1. And these are not the tips that everyone's talking about. If you're ready, let's dive right in. Before writing a single word, it is crucial to fully comprehend the task at hand. Tip number 1, understand the task. First, look at the title of the graph. Identify highest and lowest points. Identify some of the significant increases or decreases. And also, look for notable changes in that graph. You definitely need to understand what you're being presented. Remember that this task is not about simply describing what you see. You really need to analyze and interpret the data, highlighting the most important points. Look for any outliers or exceptional data points that may support your analysis. It's also so important to identify the relationships between different elements in the graph. Are there any correlations or anything that can be mentioned? Understanding these nuances will allow you to craft a more insightful and comprehensive response. Moving on to our second step. This step is one of the key features to convey your ideas effectively, and this tip can help you to improve your score, and this is great vocabulary and grammar. Definitely use appropriate vocabulary and grammar to convey your ideas effectively. Familiarize yourself with the vocabulary related to the topic you're analyzing. This includes not only general vocabulary, but also specific terminology related to graphs and data interpretation. Try to use words such as significant, substantial, gradual, peak, and more to describe trends and changes accurately. In addition to vocabulary, you really need to pay attention to the grammar and sentence structure of your essay. Make sure to use a mix of simple, compounds, and complex sentences to vary your writing style. And also avoid repetitive sentence structures and aim for clarity and coherence. The next tip that I've got is proofreading your essay. This tip can help you to improve your score significantly. Many IELTS candidates make mistakes when they're writing an essay. Even I make mistakes in my essay. And it's a great opportunity for me to correct the mistakes I've made. You might have any grammatical errors or misusage of some of the words. Are you struggling with IELTS writing task 2 and you want some tips that can help you to improve your score? Whether you're a beginner or advanced IELTS test taker, these tips will help you to maximize your score. If you're ready, let's dive right in. The first tip that I've got is key to succeeding in IELTS writing task 2, and it's something that gives you a structure, and that is planning. Planning is by far the most important part of your essay. Before you dive into writing your essay, it is so crucial to spend a considerable amount of time planning and organizing your thoughts. Start by carefully analyzing the question and identifying its key components. Next, write down your ideas and arguments related to the topic. This initial planning stage will not only save you time, but also help you create a well-structured and coherent essay. Remember that a well-planned essay is often a strong essay. The next step that I've got is making sure that your ideas and examples are relevant to the question. One strategy to avoid going off topic is to underline keywords and look at them. This will guide you in selecting suitable examples and ideas that directly relate to the topic. Next step that I've got is so significant for increasing your IELTS writing task 2 score, and that is using less common vocabulary. It is so significant to achieve a high score. Next step that I've got is to write an essay with a wide range of less common words, because it tells the examiner that you know enough vocabulary to express your ideas. But make sure that you use vocabulary that you're 100% sure about to avoid lexical mistakes. And this tip is particularly crucial for achieving a high score in the vocabulary criteria. Instead of relying on commonly used words, aim to incorporate more advanced and precise vocabulary into your essay. The next step that I've got is to avoid memorized language. Most IELTS examiners are trained to find memorized responses, and using those memorized essays or any sentences can even lower your IELTS score. Your own ideas and expressing them in your own words. This will showcase your ability to think critically and demonstrate your language skills authentically. Remember that originality is key in IELTS writing task 2. The next step that I've got is to avoid informal language. IELTS writing task 2 requires a formal and academic tone. Avoid using slang or overly casual words. Instead, try to choose words and phrases that are appropriate for a formal essay. This will ensure that your writing maintains a professional and polished style. If you want tips for IELTS listening exam, don't forget to check out the video that you can see somewhere on the screen. If you want tips, have you ever wondered what habits only Band 9 students have? It's not the habits that everyone is talking about them, and many people are not even aware of them. And in this video, I'm gonna share these 5 habits that only Band 9 students do in their IELTS preparation journey. My name is Azamat, and this channel is all about IELTS and English language learning. If you like the sound of that, please subscribe. The first habit that IELTS Band 9 students have is guessing the meaning of a word. This habit can be implemented in both listening and reading sections of the IELTS exam. Let's say Band 9 students have encountered an unknown word in the IELTS reading passage. What they do is read the sentence before and after it and understand the context, and then this helps them to guess the meaning of that word. They also implement this in listening section of the IELTS exam as well. When they encounter an unknown word in the question, they really try to understand it from the context of a sentence. They even use this habit to memorize new vocabulary. Let's say they have encountered a word that they don't know in the passage. What they do is not immediately going to a dictionary and looking up to that word. What they do is understand the context and then guess it. And after that, they go to a dictionary and find the meaning of that word. The next habit that really improves their score is turning their weaknesses into strengths. Let's say when they do practice test, they take some time to think about what question types they struggled the most and why they did those mistakes and what they can actually do to not repeat those mistakes. So the third habit that Band 9 students have is great vocabulary in grammar. They really focus on both accuracy and range of these both skills. Even in writing and speaking sections of the IELTS exam, your score is assessed 50% on these two criteria: grammatical range and accuracy and lexical resource. My tips for this section is that don't use a word that you're not 100% sure about. This may lead to mistakes. Even in the grammar section, don't use a grammar structure that you're not 100% sure about, because this can actually lower your score. In addition, grammar and vocabulary are so significant in all sections of the IELTS exam. Habit number 4 is answering the question directly. This is true for both writing and speaking questions. Let's say in your IELTS speaking exam, the examiner asks you the question. Instead of saying yes or no or saying very short answers, you really need to answer them directly by saying the reason why you prefer to do something or anything like that. The final habit that only Band 9 students have is focusing on keywords. This is so important in all sections of the IELTS test. Let's say in the IELTS listening test, you will definitely need to underline keywords. Think about how the speaker might paraphrase those keywords, and you will definitely hear a paraphrased version of those keywords. And even in the reading section, to find all the questions, you definitely need to find keywords which they will be paraphrased in the IELTS reading passage. Taking IELTS mock exams is the worst bit of advice that anyone could give. It's the complete opposite of what you know. You can take thousands of practice exams, but your score is not going to improve, even a little. It might even get worse. But not for the reason you might think of. Instead, start doing what I'm gonna tell you in this video and see a dramatic increase in your IELTS score. I'm gonna tell you an effective way to prepare for an IELTS exam that 99.9% of people don't even know about. And it's not the obvious stuff that everyone is talking about. You might already question yourself, why practice doesn't make perfect? What should I do to improve my score? And in this video, I'm gonna answer these questions. To begin with, IELTS is simply a test that checks your English skills. If you have bad English skills, you will get a bad score in the IELTS exam. However, if you have great English skills, you will definitely get a great score. The reason practice doesn't even make perfect is that you develop bad habits that you've been doing for a long time. IELTS assesses language proficiency, including grammar, vocabulary, and coherence. Simply repeating the same mistakes without actively working to improve language skills may even hinder progress. Effective IELTS preparation involves a comprehensive understanding of English grammar rules and sentence structures. It's not just about knowing the basics, but also grasping more advanced grammatical concepts. You now realized why practice doesn't make perfect. And by the end of this video, I'm gonna tell you what you really need to do to improve your score efficiently. The first thing you need to do is to identify your weaknesses and then work on them and turn them into your strengths. It's gonna take time, but remember that consistency is key to success in your IELTS preparation. Wait, it's not all, because the next step that I've got can dramatically improve your score. That step is to practice active reading and listening skills. Do what you really enjoy doing. If you like watching films in English, and if you do it, you will definitely develop your active listening skills. But it is something that is much better than passive listening that many people do. You might think, what is passive listening? For example, if your teacher says you must listen to podcasts every single day to get a high score and you don't enjoy doing it, then your score is not going to improve, and this is what passive listening looks like. Everything I said is useless if you keep making the mistakes that I talked about in the video that you can see somewhere on the screen. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we will be discussing last minute tips and strategies for your success in the IELTS exam. So the first one on our list is to arrive early. The importance of arriving early cannot be overstated. Arriving early not only avoids the stress of running late, but also prepares you mentally for the task ahead. Arriving early significantly contributes to a positive start. You definitely need to allocate extra time for circumstances such as traffic or public transportation delays. This simple ritual can set a positive tone for the entire testing experience. Moving on to the next tip, sleeping and eating well. Now, sleep and nutrition are so important. This can help your brain to consolidate information and enhance your memory. It can also recharge your brain for the task ahead. Next up, we have comfortable clothing. It is so crucial to wear something that can help you to focus entirely on the exam day. Remember that your goal is to create an environment where your attention has to be solely on the exam content, not on physical distractions. Definitely wear something that makes you confident and composed. Confidence can contribute to the positive mindset, and this positive mindset is needed for success in the IELTS exam. Next up, we have ID proof. It is so crucial for you to carry your ID proof because you will not be able to enter to the test without your ID. So definitely make sure that you bring your ID proof for the IELTS exam day. And the next tip that I've got is to not to carry mobile phones. Test center rules prohibit the presence of mobile phones, and carrying a mobile phone can lead to some severe circumstances. What I suggest you to do is to leave your mobile phone at home or in a designated outside area outside the testing room. The next tip that I've got is to stay calm. As the clock ticks down in the exam, it is natural for nerves to set in. Feeling nervous is entirely normal. It means that you really care about your performance, and that's a positive trait. Another valuable tool in your calmness is to have self-talk. Incorporate deep breathing exercises before your IELTS exam. Best of luck on your IELTS journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment below. According to YouTube analytics, 90.2% of you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, so I highly recommend you to do. If you want to know how you can easily improve your listening score, you can check out this video where I explain it in detail how you can easily get Band 9 in the IELTS listening exam. Hello everyone, welcome to today's video on mastering the art of staying calm under pressure in the IELTS exam. You all know how daunting this test can be, but fear not, because in this video you will be delving into some incredibly detailed strategies and techniques that can help you to stay calm. These strategies can help you to perform at your absolute best. So let's jump right into it. Now, when it comes to staying calm in the IELTS, the first thing that you need is a solid foundation of preparation. The main reason many people get anxious in the IELTS is the uncertainty, right? So to combat this, we are talking about thorough preparation. Start off by immersing yourself into different question types of the IELTS test. Break down your study sessions, allocate different time slots for different topics in the IELTS test, and definitely leave some space for practice exams as well. The more you prepare, the more confident you are gonna be. Moving on to our second point, practicing. Practicing is not just about getting the right answers, it's more about getting comfortable with the exam environment and the timing of the exam. Try to recreate the exam conditions as closely as possible. And that means to eliminate any distraction that you have, timing yourself during your mock exams. Regular practice builds familiarity, and familiarity builds confidence, which is so important in your IELTS exam. The third point is to manage stress through relaxation techniques. Picture this, you're in the exam hall, the clock is ticking, and the stress is building up. What do? That's a place where relaxation techniques can be so crucial. Now let's talk about the power of positive self-talk. Our thoughts have incredible power over our emotions. Try to avoid negative thoughts like, I can't do this, it's too hard. But instead replace them with positive affirmations like, I'm well prepared and I'm capable of succeeding in this exam. Remind yourself of past achievements or the amount of effort that you put into your studies. Last but not least, effective time management skills are so important during the IELTS exam. Break down the exam into sections and try to allocate specific time frames for each section. And definitely use those time frames for each section even in your mock exams as well. If you have enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. If you want to know how you can easily get 9 in the IELTS listening section, you can check out this video where I gave detailed tips and strategies that you can apply. Hey fans, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be discussing 7 IELTS common mistakes that many students are making. We're also going to talk about solutions on how to avoid these small mistakes that are ruining your score. These small mistakes are preventing you from getting 8+ in your IELTS exam. The first one on our list is not monitoring your progress. Monitoring your progress is so essential for achieving your desired score in the IELTS exam. Many students end up not meeting their goals because They didn't actually keep track of their progress. To avoid this, what you can do is create a study schedule and regularly assess your progress. It's so essential to know where you stand in terms of your preparation. Regularly take practice tests to keep track of your progress. And in addition to that, it is so essential to analyze what you did wrong and what did you did right. The second common IELTS mistake that many students are making is not having enough time management skills. Properly managing your time during the exam is so crucial. To avoid this mistake, what you need to do is practice mock exams to get a sense of pacing. And the next solution is to allocate enough time for each specific task. In the writing section, for example, divide your time wisely. Initially, allocate a few minutes for brainstorming and outlining your essays, then spend a majority of the time to write a well-structured essay. Then finally, allocate about 5 minutes to proofread your essay. Another mistake is neglecting to fully address the task requirements. It's important to read the question carefully, understand what is being asked, and respond accordingly. Many students lose valuable points by not responding to all aspects of the question. Let's take the writing task as an example. If the question is asking you to discuss both advantages and disadvantages of a particular topic, make sure your response covers both aspects. Avoid focusing too much on just one side of the argument, which can lead to a lower score in the writing task, for example. Moving on to the next mistake. Having insufficient vocabulary can hinder your performance in all sections of the IELTS test. A varied and extensive use of vocabulary can showcase your language proficiency and can improve your score. To improve your vocabulary, make sure that you do some daily reading and write down the words that you encounter. Use a dictionary or a vocabulary building app to understand their meaning and usage. Try to incorporate these words into your speaking and writing performances to improve your score over time. Weak grammar skills can have a significant impact on your performance, especially in the writing and speaking sections of the IELTS test. Grammatical errors can lead to confusion and misunderstandings, which might affect the clarity and coherence of your performance. To improve your grammar, what you can do is to improve areas where you struggle the most. Identify common grammar mistakes and learn the corresponding rules of those mistakes. Utilize grammatical resources such as textbooks and online tutorials to fully understand those grammar mistakes and the corresponding rules of it. Another area where many IELTS candidates make mistakes is the inappropriate use of prepositions. Using the wrong preposition can completely change the meaning of a sentence. So let's clarify some of those prepositions now. Remember, at is used for specific times. In is used for larger time periods. And on is used for specific days or dates. Last but not least mistakes that many students are making is booking the IELTS test before they're actually ready. For example, if you consistently score, for example, 7 plus in your mock exams and your target score is 8, you don't need to register for the IELTS exam. Register for the IELTS exam only when you're ready. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video, we will be discussing the ultimate guide on how to prepare for the IELTS exam in 2024. I will provide you with 3 crucial steps to achieve your target score in 2024. So let's dive right in. The first step in your IELTS preparation journey is to understand the structure of the IELTS exam. The IELTS exam is consisted of 4 parts: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Each section on the IELTS exam has its own unique challenges and requirements. So let's break down each section and discuss some effective strategies. To excel in this section, it is so crucial for you to practice active listening. You can listen to English podcasts, watch TV shows or movies, but make sure that you are practicing active listening skills. Moving on to the reading section. This part evaluates your reading comprehension skills. To succeed in this section, it is so important to have specific strategies for each question type. Make sure to allocate sufficient time for each passage in the IELTS reading test. Next step is the writing section. The writing test assesses your ability to express your thoughts in written English. One key tip for the writing section is to practice with various essay questions. Additionally, make sure that you pay attention to grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Lastly, we have the speaking test, which evaluates your ability to communicate effectively in English. To perform well in this section, it is so important to practice speaking skills regularly. The next step to achieve your target score in the IELTS exam is to create a study plan. You can also use some already made study plans as well. For example, I have my own study plan for IELTS exam, which is for 2 months long, and you can check it out. When setting your goals, make sure your goals are attainable and realistic. Break down your long-term goal of passing the IELTS into smaller milestones. Celebrate your achievements along the way to stay motivated. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment below. According to YouTube analytics, 90.2% of you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel. I highly recommend to subscribe to my channel, and this is something that motivates me to make more videos. People say practice makes perfect, but this cannot be true for the IELTS exam. Taking mock tests is a great way to assess your score, but make sure you analyze your mistakes. Make sure that you identify areas for improvement. By understanding the structure of the IELTS exam, creating a study plan, and practicing effectively, you will be on your way to get your desired score in the IELTS exam in 2024. Good luck! Having a low reading speed in the IELTS reading exam can be something that is holding you back from getting a band 9. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you 8 powerful steps that you can easily do to improve your reading speed. The first step is to break the habit of constantly going back and rereading. This can lead to wasted time because your eyes go back and forth, and this is something that wastes a lot of the time. And my suggestion is to run your finger across the sentence that you're reading. Why? Because it can help you retain information better. The next step is read a variety of passages. My suggestion is read passages from different topics through various mediums. This can help you to identify type of passages that you struggle, and you can read more types of those passages. The more you read, the better your reading speed is gonna be. Moving on to the next step, word chunking. Word chunking is a powerful technique to quickly improve your reading speed. What you can do is start by reading 2 words with one glance and then gradually increase the number of words that you read with one glance. The next step is to use a timer. Time yourself while reading. When the timer goes off, you do need to notice how many words you've read, because this is gonna give you a measurement of your reading speed. Track yourself and set daily or weekly goals, and this can be great motivation. And it's a great technique to improve your reading speed over time. According to the analytics, 87.8% of you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video, comment below, and share it, because it gives me motivation to create more videos. Next step is to read more. Practice makes perfect holds true for improving your reading speed. Just like any other skill, the more you read, the better you will be at your reading speed. My suggestion is have daily tasks for reading and do it consistently, because consistency is key for everything. And the next step is to utilize visualization techniques. Visualization can be a great step to improve your reading speed. Try to visualize the information that you read. Try to create mental images of what you read in the passage. This can help your brain to retain the information more efficiently. Have you found yourself having a low reading speed because while you read you encounter words that you don't know? And the solution is to memorize more vocabulary, expand your vocabulary. This is one of the key steps in improving your reading speed. Last but not least, improve your concentration skills. Improving your focus and concentration skills can significantly improve your reading speed. How you can do that? What you can do is minimize distractions by finding a quiet and comfortable location for you to read anything. Remember that consistency and practice are so important in improving your reading speed. Do you want to get 8+ in your IELTS exam and you don't know how to quickly and easily prepare for your IELTS exam? Then this video is for you. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Azamat, your IELTS guide on this journey. So in this video, I will be giving you a step-by-step approach for your IELTS examination, so you can get your desired score. Our first step is a foundational one. Decide whether you're going to take academic or general training exam. Academic exam is for those who want to study at university or get into jobs like medicine, for example. And the general training is for those who want to travel to an English-speaking country. Listening and speaking sections of the IELTS, both academic and general training, are the same, but reading and writing sections are not. In the reading section, you will be given academic texts from journals and magazines in the IELTS academic reading test. But in the IELTS general training test, in the reading section, you will be given texts that are related to everyday life that will be used in an English-speaking country. In the IELTS academic writing task 1, you will be needed to write a report, but in the IELTS general training writing task 1, you will be needed to write a letter. Moving on to our second step, understand the test format. I can't stress enough on this. For example, in the IELTS listening test, you will be given around 30 minutes and it has 4 questions, which includes 40 questions. The IELTS reading test is gonna be 60 minutes and it has 3 sections, 40 questions. The IELTS speaking exam is gonna be between 11 and 14 minutes and has 3 parts. You will be talking with the examiner in the IELTS speaking exam. In the IELTS writing academic test, you will be given 60 minutes and you will have 2 tasks. Task 1 is gonna be a report on graph, chart, map, or process. And task 2 is gonna be an essay. But in the IELTS writing general training exam, you will be given 2 tasks, and task 1 is gonna be a letter, and task 2 is gonna be an essay. Now, step number 3, understand the marking criteria. For example, the speaking test will be assessed on 4 criteria: fluency and coherence, lexical resource, pronunciation, and grammatical range and accuracy. And the writing section will be assessed on coherence and cohesion, task achievements, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. You must read the official marking criteria that you can find in the IELTS official website. Step number 4. Understand each different question type. In the IELTS listening and reading exam, there are more than 10 different types of questions. Again, in the IELTS writing test, there are more than 10 question types. And it's so important for you to work on these different question types because it can give you a huge advantage. Because each of those question types require different approach and strategy. So the next step is improve your vocabulary. The lexical resource in the speaking and writing exam accounts for 25% of your total mark. And even in the reading and listening sections, you will be tested on vocabulary as well. My suggestion is that you don't need to memorize any unknown word with its translation. And what you should do is you should search for its definition and write down its definition and then an example. Step number 6, use English every day. It doesn't have to be boring practice tests, but you can find things that you enjoy and do them consistently. There are many ways of using English every day so that you can find the one that you enjoy and do it consistently. The next step is practice test. You don't do practice tests all the time. You can do those once a week. But the most important thing is that you analyze them, analyze why you're doing questions wrong, why you're doing some questions right, and identify your weaknesses and improve your weaknesses and make them your strengths. But remember that practice tests don't have to be the only part of preparation. Let's have a short break here. I have an announcement. If this channel reaches 100 subscribers, I will launch a free IELTS reading question types course, which is gonna be available for free on YouTube. If you're enjoying this video so far, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment below because it motivates us to make more videos. Last but not least, book your IELTS test. Only if you're ready. If you're not ready, repeat this process again and again. And when you get your desired score, you can then book your IELTS test with either IDP or British Council. If you want to know how you can easily get a band 9 in the IELTS reading section, you can check out this video where I explain it how you can easily and quickly get a band 9 in the IELTS reading section. If you're aiming to score band 9 in the IELTS reading section, then you're in the right place. I've got 8 valuable tips for you to ace your IELTS reading test and reach a band 9. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Azamat At the end of the video, I will tell you an important announcement, so make sure you watch the video until the very end. Our first tip is a foundational one. Read the instructions carefully. I can't stress enough on this. The IELTS reading test is not just about understanding the passage, it's also about understanding questions. Type has specific instructions, and if you skip this part, you might lose easy points. For example, in the fill in the gaps questions, there is always instructions about how many words you can choose. So many IELTS good candidates lose easy marks on these types of questions. Moving on to our second tip, develop a specific strategy for each question type. The IELTS reading test throws at you various different question types where you will be tested on very different skills. And having a specific strategy helps not only for you to save time but also to increase your accuracy. Now, tip number 3, don't expect to understand every word in the passage. This is a common trap that many IELTS students fall into. If you don't understand a word, look at the meaning and the context of that sentence. Alternatively, you can forget about it. Even then, 9 students don't know every single word in the IELTS reading test. Instead, focus on the words that are related to the question. Tip number 4, be careful when transferring your answers. This step might look simple, but this is the section where many students have mistakes on. Even just a letter can make a huge difference. So my suggestion is to time yourself when you transfer your answers into the answer sheet. In the IELTS reading test, you will not be given extra time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet as you do in the listening test. So it's so important for you to transfer your answers accurately as possible. Tip number 5, it's okay to guess. Yes, you heard it right, it's okay to guess. In the IELTS reading test, instead of leaving questions unanswered, it is always a better option to make educated guesses. If you don't know the answer, make sure that you write something. You might get lucky. 6 is all about self-awareness. Work on your weaknesses. We all have weaknesses in the IELTS reading test, and it's so important to understand why we are doing specific types of questions wrong or right. And then we have to realize reasons why we are getting it wrong. Is it because you're not understanding the passage, or is it because we are running out of time, or is it because we are not analyzing the question enough? Number 7, use authentic materials. Using authentic materials that closely resemble the actual IELTS reading test is so crucial. There are many fake tests online which are sometimes harder or easier than the actual reading test. And my advice is to use only Cambridge materials. I have video walkthroughs of Cambridge IELTS tests in my channel, so you can check it out. Last but not least, improve your time management skills. If you pay attention to one question for a very long time, you might miss other questions. You might not have enough time to do other questions. Or if you do the test very quickly, you might get confused. I have an announcement. If this channel reaches 100 subscribers, I will launch a free IELTS reading question types course on YouTube. If you found the video helpful and useful, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment below.